Just a reminder, today's conference is being recorded.
So welcome everybody to our very first training session in the Ensemble Wedding and Honeymoon program. Our first session today is called Making the Most of Bridal Shows, and it will be presented by Franca Uele and myself, Sylvie Roy. So the first thing we want to talk to you about is the agenda for our presentation today. There's a lot of things that we want to cover. We will probably be chatting for about a half an hour to minutes, depending how many questions we get at the end. And what we want to discuss are the advantages of participating in bridal shows, booth planning, your strategy for working the bridal shows, and then we'll have a question and answer period at the end. So why do a bridal show? The obvious reason is that that's where the brides are going to be. So naturally, if you want a bride's business, that's where you should go, which is very true. And there's also the fact that the bride is usually there with their entourage. I don't know any bride that goes there alone, and I have been with many brides as the bridesmaid or as a supportive friend. And those are the people that you want to hit, because the bride, a lot of times it might be even a little bit late for the bride because she might have an idea already set in her mind of what she wants. Those bridesmaids are all in the marrying age, and they are also great people to be hitting with your message. It's a great way to gather qualified leads because you have the opportunity to talk to people to see where they are at in their wedding planning. And it's also a great way to increase your brand presence in your community, because if you're always out there and people consistently see you and they're talking about you, your name is going to start coming to mind when they think destination weddings. And it's also a very great way to network with other vendors that are in the bridal industry in your area. So there's a lot more than just contacting brides. So I'll just pass it over to Franca, and she's going to take us through some details about different types of shows and a few more specifics.
Okay. So we can see from the post that many of you will be doing shows across Canada, and mostly because many of you have been in this segment of the industry for a long time. However, we do have a couple of agencies and some of the consultants that are new to this segment, so we just want to be able to quickly give you an overview of the shows that are already in the market, and then some ideas for things that you can do in branch as well. So obviously there are large bridal shows in most of the major cities across Canada, and they happen 2 times a year. There's a big flurry of activity happening right after the holidays. So in January, there are lots of shows across Canada. And then there are lots of smaller shows. So in some of your, smaller cities, in towns, there are local shows as well. Now, if you happen to live in a region of Canada where, for whatever reason, you don't have a bridal show, there are welcome wagon shows, and you just have to go on the web and search in your area under welcome wagon, and you get a list of shows that are themed for brides in your community. So those are the ones that already exist, and they're specifically targeted to the wedding market. But there are other shows where you have an opportunity to target brides if, again, you're looking to expand your reach. And these could be ethnic theme shows. I know in Toronto, for example, we have a couple of big shows, and I think it's the same in Vancouver, that target specific markets. So there's one specifically for the Chinese market, and this is obviously, the new generation of Chinese brides are looking at destination weddings as well, and definitely honeymoons. And I heard yesterday when I was at Travel Sensation that there's even an Indian theme show. And again, perhaps not so much for destination weddings, but definitely in the honeymoon market, because these are ethnic areas where the new generation is definitely in a category where they have the money and the time to travel. So, and then also in Toronto this year, and I think it's happening in other cities, are more high-end shows. So if you're targeting the type of brides that need either very high-end destination weddings, and in most cases, these high-end shows tend to be where wedding planners tend to gravitate, because obviously wedding planners are looking for clients that have quite a bit of money that will pay for their services. And I think it's time that, especially some of you that have been in this market for a while, you may want to start looking for the high-end shows. In Toronto, as I said, this year there is one that is being organized at the Carlu, which is a venue at College and Yonge, and they will be targeting all of the high-end neighborhoods in the city. So different options. If you're starting out, obviously the large shows are the best thing because you're getting a mass market bride, so lots of opportunity to meet lots of people. But if you're in communities where there are no shows, then we want to give you some other ideas. So if you're in a place where there's no shows and you still want to get to the bride and grooms, and people are getting married all over the place, because I can tell you that last year, as we were doing our lead generation campaigns on Facebook and with Wedding Bells, we had an incredible number of brides that were looking for destination weddings in the prairie areas of Canada and in many small towns. So between Edmonton and Calgary, for example, we had over 200 leads of brides that lived in small towns and were looking for destination wedding ideas. So if you happen to be in a small town and there's no show near you, then what we would advise is that you need to do your own little show. And I worked at Sears for a few years, and we had a wedding and honeymoon program years ago at Sears, and one of the things we really encouraged was in-branch activities. And we called them Jack and Jill. So what we would do is the branch manager, or in your case, our specialist, can liaise with either jewelers, because you want to catch the bride and groom at the beginning of the process. So the best thing is to either, work with a jeweler, because as soon as they buy that engagement ring, the planning starts. You can work with jewelers, and you can invite, along with them, some of the people that have recently gotten engaged into a Jack and Jill. And you can do a small event in your branch. And the way that we used to do them was we would invite 5 or 6 couples. We would do either wine and cheese or some mocktails. We, in some cases, Sandals would join the event, and we are at the moment working and negotiating with Sandals to join us for this program. But there are many other suppliers that certainly can help you. You can do a nice presentation. You can do, champagne and cheese, whatever. But it's just bringing people together to your agency to offer them a short presentation on some of the options that are available when it comes to destination wedding and honeymoons. And I can tell you that we did these for a year in at Sears across Canada, and the results were wonderful, because when you're getting people in a small kind of activity like that, they're more predisposed to booking. And so I would encourage that, again, if you're in areas where you don't have big shows, think about doing your own activities in your own branch. Okay, so now, Sylvia, did you want to talk a little bit about what happens? If you've never done a show, this is what you need to do in order to get yourself started. And if you're missing out on the January shows, by the way, the next flurry of activities happens in the fall months, mostly, across Canada. So, you need to start getting ready and doing your research and planning for the rest of the year and then 2011.
So as Franco was saying, there's a lot of different shows out there, and if you're not sure what types of shows are in your area, the best thing to do is to just go online and Google bridal shows and put the name of your province or the name of the next major city close to you, and it'll bring up an entire list. And then have a look and see what each show is about, and you need to decide which show is best for you. Because if there are all of these different shows and you're not in the right one, you're not making the most of your investment and your time and your money. So it's really best to pinpoint what it is that works best for you. Have a look at the statistics that they provide. They always have an exhibitor's package where they're trying to sell the space to you, because obviously without your participation, there's no show. So they will show you what the different costs are, so you can have a look at how much it costs to be in one show versus the other. And they'll also let you know about how many visitors are expected. So some shows, like the one at that Franco was mentioning at the Carlu, it attracts a very small number of brides when you compare it to the national bridal show that we have here in Toronto. But there are differences. So one might cost more and offer you more people coming through. One might cost less and offer you less people. One might be very expensive but offer you a better, higher-end type of lead if that's what you're looking for. So have a look and consider all of that. And then the next thing to think about is whether or not you might want to partner with a supplier. Because for most of the shows, I think the lowest cost that we've seen is probably about $500 for the smaller shows. And then a lot of them are ranging at about $1,000, $1,500, and then some of them are higher than that. And if you partner with a supplier, that usually helps out a lot because it makes life easy for them because you're going to be there selling their product. So they're willing to kick in different, like help you cover the cost of the booth. They'll sometimes donate a prize so that you have some sort of a raffle and something to attract clients to your booth. Things to think about is that you may have to promote them exclusively. So if it's a supplier you're not so hot on, but they're promising the moon for the wedding show, think about that. Are you going to feel comfortable selling their product and closing sales based on that? And before you confirm any participation in the show, really make sure that you confirm the monetary support from the supplier or anyone else that's helping you, because you want to make sure that if you are not able to cover the cost 100% on your own, that the money is for sure coming in somehow, because otherwise if you confirm, you'll be stuck with either the whole fee from the show or some sort of a deposit that you'll have to put down. Once you've thought about all of that, make sure that you book your space as soon as you can. And what that will help is it gives you peace of mind that you're actually in the show, because a lot of the shows will book up very quickly. But it also helps you choose a good area in the show itself. So what they'll do is they'll send you a little map and ask you which booth do you want. And depending on what you've selected and the price range, they'll have a few locations that are available. So you want to try and think about what the wedding shows are like. If you're not participating in any this time, maybe go and visit a few of them just so you can see what they're like and see what the high traffic areas are. So usually walking right into the show, those are the higher traffic areas. Towards the back, you know, a lot of times the corners are a little bit darker. You want to try and pick a place where as many people are going to walk by as possible. Because it doesn't matter how fantastic your booth is, if it's hidden in a corner and nobody's really walking out that way, it's not going to be as successful as it could if it was in a great spot. And also choose the right size of booth. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but bigger isn't always better when it comes to the size of your booth. So Ensemble Travel can help you when it comes to planning the wedding shows. And we mentioned this briefly last week, but one of the perks of participating in our wedding and honeymoon program is that we're going to help partner you up with a supplier who is going to help fund 50% of the cost of your show. So to do this, you need to fill out a proposal form. So we'll have them available online. But just remember again with this that until you fill out the proposal and we send it in and you hear from us that it has been confirmed and you're getting the funds, the funding is not secured yet. So if you're really relying on that money to be able to make ends meet for the show, make sure that you wait until you hear from us. The potential partners that we've been working with thus far for the bridal shows are Signature Vacations, Transat Holidays, Charisma Hotels, and WestJet, and we're quite sure that there will be more coming on later on in the year. There are additional posters that are available for the show, so if you want some of those, we can send them over to you free of charge. And for additional graphics that you might need, although we can't handle the coordination of the printing and pay for the printing, we are more than happy to put together custom graphics for you. So we have a professional graphic designer that will put something together with the beautiful creative that we have for the Ensemble Wedding and Honeymoon magazine that just went to press this week. And like we said, January 4th, you'll have those in your agencies. So planning your strategy, it's not just a matter of showing up at the bridal shows with a bunch of different brochures and hoping that you get people's attention. You need to think about what your message is going to be. So decide what it is that you want to promote. Is there a particular supplier that you do really well and you want to increase your business with them? A particular destination that you want to do more with? So once you've thought about that, contact potential suppliers that would be good partners and ask for new product updates. Make sure that you're up to speed on everything that you could possibly be selling. If there's new perks, anything exciting that would really get the brides excited. Are you up to speed on their wedding program? Because what we found is that the suppliers are bending over backwards. They are really outdoing themselves with really great additions and new features for the weddings. So if you are promoting a particular supplier, why not call your local rep and do a training with the staff that's going to be at the wedding show just to make sure that you are on track. And please don't forget about the honeymoons, because our statistics show that I think is it 16% of brides want to have a destination wedding, and that's a good chunk of the market, but 99% of them are going to take a honeymoon. So it's a market that you cannot afford to ignore. Next thing is to think about what's unique about your services, because chances are if you're going to a bridal show, there are going to be other wedding planners, probably even other travel agencies that are there. So try to think about what it is that you do that is special. Do you specialize in very large groups? Do you do really elaborate events for small groups, high-end, or Jewish weddings? Think about a point of distinction that you have. And then once you've figured it out, share it with your staff and memorize it. And the most important thing is to believe it. It's believing in yourself, knowing what you're good at, and then letting other people know about it. And as simple and easy as that seems, it's really key because it helps shift your mindset and let you know what your goal is. And now a little bit on planning your booth. So I'm going to pass it over to Franca, and she'll tell you a little bit about her experience and also some of the points to really stick to when you're putting your booth together.
Okay. So most shows, and you can see from the diagram over there, for those of you that have done shows, you know that they come pretty bare, and it's one of the challenges of doing a show is that not only do you have to pay for the actual space in the show, but then you have to buy all of the other little things that make it workable. So basically, that's how most booths come. You get a draped area, mostly 10 by 10, and in most cases, that's exactly what the draping is. So higher in the back and then lower on the side panels. 10 by 10 we feel is really ideal. When you are choosing your space, definite key areas are corner units that are in a high traffic area, because then you really stand out as the traffic flow is going around. And so you can really do some amazing stuff with the with your booth. So a few things to remember. First and foremost, shows are they're very intense. So, I know that in the past some people have tried to do it with 1 or 2 consultants. Really, you need 3 people to do a show effectively, because you want to take breaks. You're continuously talking, you're continuously engaged in what's going on in the show. So 3 people would be a really good system to have, so that there could be breaks on an ongoing basis. And also when it gets busy, you don't want to be turning away business. So you do need the right amount of staffing for the actual show. Now, as I said, the show comes pretty bare in some cases, and please read your contracts really carefully. They will include a table that may or may not be skirted. So just make sure that there is skirting around. Curtains are always included because it's the way they're separated. And then chairs. Chairs may or may not be included, and for some shows, chairs are pretty expensive. They can run up to $100 a chair. So, if you're going to be doing shows for a while, it may be worthwhile to, make an investment and buy some of these pieces. They have to be easily portable, because you don't want to be lugging around big chairs. And tables, in most cases, it's better to get their tables, because then they come draped. The other extras that are definitely never included are hydro. So if you need power, if you're going to be showing videos, or if you need lights for your booth, then you need to order it. And any additional furniture that you feel you need to enhance your booth. A must, I always say, is carpet, because although it's it's expensive. Now, first and foremost, what we would suggest is do not buy the carpet from the show, because it's going to cost you about $100 to carpet an area that's 10 by 10. And again, if you're going to be doing shows over and over, then it would be best for you to invest in a nice area rug that A, is a lot more appealing, and B, you have it. And probably, most area rugs, if you're picking it up at a place like IKEA or Walmart, for $50 you can get a nice little carpet that will fit a 10 by 10. Something that Sylvie saw at the one-of-a-kind show, and I've seen in other places, are some new mats that you can buy either at Canadian Tire, Home Depot, which are made of plastic, and they look like huge, big puzzle pieces, and they come together. And they're fabulous because, A, they add color and they add a little bit of pizzazz to the booth, but more importantly, you need a carpet because in most cases the floor is cement. And if you have to stand on cement for 8 hours, trust me, after a while your legs feel like lead. So you want something soft underneath. So these new pads that are available, and I think when they sell them as kids' room padding for the floor. They're very affordable. I think they run like at $5 for a 1-foot square piece, and so probably for about $50, again, you can cover your entire booth. They come in all sorts of colors, so you can do a multicolor, or if you're going for a theme, then you have, either browns or grays if you're trying to portray a bit more of a destination. But please make sure that you've got something for that floor, both for aesthetic reasons, but more importantly for your own health and comfort during the show. And then the other thing we would say is do read the show rules and regulations. I used to do the Travel and Leisure show, and one year the fire marshal came through and he told us all that we couldn't have any posters because they were fire hazards. So we were scrambling. We had like 300 exhibitors, and we had to go out and buy a spray in order to spray all of the pieces. So in some cities they tend to be a little bit more picky about the rules and regulations. So just make sure that if you're bringing anything into the booth area, that it is something that is allowed. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about decor, and I will leave our decor lady Sylvie to talk a bit about that.
So I think it goes without saying, but I will say it. Decor is very important, just like in your house, your agency, a restaurant. Your booth decor is what's going to draw people in and give them an impression about what you, your agency, and your services are all about. And just like decor anywhere else, it doesn't always need to be expensive. You can do things on a budget, but you need to stand out in a positive way. And you need to reflect what it is that you're selling. A lot of, we were reading about experiences that other people have had in bridal shows, and some people think that it would be nice to set a table like you would at a wedding with the place settings, and, you know, they might be a florist and they've set it up that way, and then people come by and they say people are looking at the place settings instead of the flowers because they think they must be selling china. So same thing, if you've got too many flowers, people might think that you're a tourist, because if you think about it, you're selling travel. It's not like you're going to show up with a plane and put it in your booth. So you really have to make sure that you're not giving the wrong impression. So same with cake samples. I know that I've seen a lot of places saying, oh, why don't you buy a large cake and hand out pieces to the brides? First of all, there are going to be lots of cake suppliers that are going to be handing out tons of cakes to the brides. And if you start doing that, then it looks like you're a bakery and people are going to be lining up for free samples of cake and not even knowing what it is that you want to talk to them about. So the best thing is to focus on in-destination romance, because if you see some sort of a theme and it looks like a destination, you kind of can't go wrong. People know that it's about travel. If you know, it doesn't have anything that looks like a typical wedding here in Canada with, you know, just flowers or a table setting. If there's something tropical looking about it, they'll start to get the picture. So the key, as is with many things in life, is planning ahead. So buy supplies many weeks ahead of time. I know that in a past life, in another career, we worked on a trade show, and it was cosmetics, so it was different. But we planned at the very last minute, and it tends to get a little bit chaotic, and it's not as successful as you want. And then you get to the show, and you think, oh God, look at what they have. That's a cool idea. That wasn't even so expensive. Why didn't we think about that? So get together beforehand. The staff that you've chosen, get together, have a meeting. Even the staff that isn't on the floor working the show, get them together. Chances are you have a lot of ladies in your office that love to decorate. Start to brainstorm, get the crafty ones out and get them to think about ideas, and go out and start planning things and buy supplies very far ahead of time. And if you can, if you have the space board, I know a lot of you might not, you're limited on space, but even have a trial run in your office or at someone's house if you can, just to set up different concepts. Because a lot of things, like you've probably seen in your own homes, you think, oh, I've seen this on TV, it'll look fantastic, and then you set it up and you think, oh, that's not quite what I was imagining. So you don't want the day of the show to be the moment when you figure out that it doesn't look quite right. So we were thinking of a few concepts just to get your imagination going, because we really believe that if you do something unique but well done, that it'll start to get people's attention. So one thing that could be really good to draw attention for destination weddings, but also honeymoon, is kind of I was calling it the après-wedding theme. So, you know, what happens after the wedding is over and the couple is in destination. So I'm imagining you have a beach backdrop on the background, and I was doing a little bit of research. You can actually buy one online. It's, I believe, 4 to 6 feet tall and 30 feet wide. You could even, and it's just a continuous beach background, so you could cut it into sections and save them for when, you know, one of them is starting to get banged up. And have that as your backdrop, and then pile some brown fabric, or even if you were to get some of those puzzle tiles like Franca was talking about, to have some brown towards the back to simulate the brown of the earth, or hopefully sand. If we could all bring sand, that would be lovely. But I don't recommend that unless you have a very large budget. And what you could do is string up a clothesline and hang a bikini, men's swimming trunks, and a wedding gown if you have a wedding gown, or you could even go to a thrift store and buy one. It doesn't need to fit anyone, and even if the zipper's broken, no one would know. And a men's suit, and then put out two Muskoka chairs or beach chairs and have a little table between them with a couple of glasses of wine and one of those little electric candles, because for trade shows, real candles with flames will be a definite no-no. So if you want candles, you need to find those electric kinds that flicker. So it would just be kind of a fun theme that gets the picture across, but it's not making any promises. It's just fun, and it lets people imagine the scenario that they could have if they were going to have a destination wedding. And of course, this is just a basic idea. You could take it and run with it and do something different, but it's something pretty simple but effective to pull off. And then if you wanted to do more of a romantic type theme and really get the point across for the beach wedding, you could actually set up a tropical wedding type of altar in your booth. So it would be quite simple to do, actually. If you know of a home decor store, and Home Depot might actually have these, get yourself 8 stalks of bamboo, or really just any other type of piece of wood would work. And depending how you decorate it, if you wrap some ribbon or tulle around it, you could probably even use 2x4s and get away with it, depending on what you do. So if you have a look at the picture that's on the right, you place 4 of them upright, and if you wanted a simple way to stand them up, you could probably secure them to some of the poles that are keeping the booth separated and the curtains standing up. Or you could get 4 pails that are filled with rocks and just kind of stick them in there. And then the other 4 you use at the top to make the little roof, and you tie them together with a variety. You could use anything. You could use some raffia, some tulle, ribbon, anything decorative. And then you just decorate the arch in a really tropical style. So there's a little picture here. It's little petals that are strung together. But you could do anything that you want. And if you start Googling that online and just having a look at other people's beach weddings, you can see so many decorations, and just let your imagination go. Like I said, get the ladies in your office who love to decorate and let them run with this, because chances are they'll love just being able to do it. And then the other thing is that you would set up a little bit of a runner or an aisle leading up to the altar. So you see over here, it looks like they have some stones and shells that are lining it. So you could do the same thing, or you could get a nice colorful runner, or you could get some more of those little electric candles that flicker. The sky's the limit. You can go crazy. But really, it's a very inexpensive way to really get the point across in a tasteful and effective manner. So if you're creative, you can go ahead and look online for inspiration. One of the really great resources that I found, as much as she kind of makes me feel inadequate sometimes, is Martha Stewart. She always finds brilliant ways to do the most simple things. And it's her website. It's marthastewartweddings.com, and it goes along with her wedding magazine. But there are so many great ideas there, and they're do-it-yourself projects. So if you were on a budget and you had quite a bit of time and someone that wanted to put things together, lots of great ideas. If not, don't worry. You don't need to be artistic. You can just keep it clean and simple, and it'll still be very effective. You can look for free supplies first, because if you're on a budget, and even if you're not, if you have things available, why go out and buy them if you can borrow or use something of your own? So talk to friends about the concept, see if they have anything that you can use. And then if not, I find that Walmart is a really great store for a lot of things. They sell so much, and sometimes we don't venture into all these departments, but I know that my local Walmart has a really great fabric department. It's very inexpensive, and they have a lot of variety, as well as in the craft section. And they also have a lot of really nice decor items, and it's very inexpensive. For those of you with an IKEA in the area, they have a lot of great things there too. And I don't know what the dollar stores are like across Canada, but in Ontario, they're pretty spectacular. You can get a lot of good stuff for $1 over there. And Canadian Tire actually has very nice decor items, and the W. Travis stuff that they have, it's very inexpensive, but they have some great stuff there too. So lots of local resources. And when it comes to colors, it's very important. If you use the wrong colors, it can really make you look dated. And it's just like if you think about the whole leggings look. It's back now. It was also popular in the 80s, but there's a now way to do it, and there's an 80s way to do it. So it's like that with everything, and the same with the wedding colors. So when you're choosing something, really make sure that you choose a contemporary palette. So if you have a look at the materials that we're putting together for our Wedding and Honeymoons magazine, we're using blue and brown. And to some people it might sound like a bizarro combination, but it's not. I was actually a maid of honor in a wedding earlier this year, and those were the colors, and it just looked fabulous. So if you're kind of stuck and you don't know what to use, just go with that, and you'll know that all of the posters that you use, if you use ours, they're all going to match. If not, you could go on a website like marthastewartweddings.com. They have a whole section on choosing wedding colors, and I'll send you guys the link after the call is over. But just make sure that your color palette is very contemporary. And the same with the flowers. We often tell men that you can't go wrong with getting flowers. That might be the case for men, but for wedding shows, you can go wrong if you get the wrong type of flowers. Because just like the colors can make you look dated, the wrong type of flowers can do the same thing. So make sure that you choose contemporary designs. So let's say you go to the grocery store and you see that they have all of the bouquets there that are pre-made. I really would not suggest getting any of those. I know that the only thing that I would suggest getting from the grocery store, and I don't know that it's like that in the rest of the country, because I know in the Maritimes you don't have the type of selection of flowers in grocery stores like we do in Ontario, but I know that at Superstore and Loblaws, they have great promotions where you buy 3 bouquets of flowers and it's $21. But they're very simple flowers, so I would stick to maybe 2 types of flowers in one bouquet and colors that are similar, and just do something that really has an impact. And that's if you're doing your own thing. So don't get the bouquets that come with the baby's breath and the fern, and that's not the type of flower that you want for a wedding, and it does look a little bit more dated. So go for something simple. One great thing that could work to your advantage is to talk to local florists, because just like you, they are interested in getting the bride's business. So even though a bride is going to have a destination wedding, it doesn't mean that if a florist has flowers in your booth that they only want to sell for the wedding. Florists will want to sell flowers for any occasion, and any exposure is good exposure. So if they want to help provide you with some flowers to decorate your booth, you can explain to them your concept. They can put something together, and you can agree to, hand out a business card on their behalf. Again, you have to check with the shows. Some shows don't allow you to hand out third-party business cards, but just really make sure that you think about the flowers and that you do something contemporary. And again, on the Martha Stewart website, there's a lot of do-it-yourself ideas, and I mean, when I think carnations, I kind of think it's not really a contemporary, modern type of bouquet. Yet I went on Martha Stewart, and somehow she found a way to make it look really modern and chic. So just make sure that whatever you do, that you do it in a very modern way, and it will work for you. And most of you, I hope, are going to be having some sort of a contest at your booth. It's a great way to gather additional leads, but we're going to get into generating leads at the show a little later on. But please do not rely solely on the ballot box, but do have one just to gather some additional leads, and make sure that it's something really nice. So you see that this picture here, it's just a hat box. It's a cardboard hat box that you could buy at HomeSense is a really great source for those, because they'll have nice quality rigid types of storage boxes, whether it's a round box or a rectangular box, but they have beautiful patterns. You can embellish them on your own if you wanted to buy something very simple and then get some really stylish modern type of either wallpaper or wrapping paper and a nice color coordinated ribbon to go with it. So it's very inexpensive, but it just looks very chic and contemporary, and it's a nice decor item as well as a practical item to have in your booth. And to decorate your table, you're going to have a table. You could try and go without one, but we dare you to find a place to keep all of those practical things that you need, such as brochures and the ballot box and the business cards. So do have that table. Take the free one that they give you. But once you've thought about your color scheme, make sure that the table is going to go along with it. So you can either get a colored tablecloth that goes with the color scheme, or white. You can never really go wrong with white in a bridal show. And what you can do is just bring in some decorative items that reflect the color scheme, but just make sure that you don't clutter your table. Bring a few things to help accentuate and add some pizzazz, like you can have the flowers and maybe some beach-themed items like shells or stones or starfish or anything else that you feel is really going to be pretty and decorative, but don't overdo it. And this picture here is not the best example. It's a buffet, but what we're trying to explain here is that it's a good idea to tier your table. So as you can see, what they've done on this photo is that they have something underneath the tablecloth, and there's different heights. So things that you could use, I mean, Franca was saying that she's often used big cans of tomato paste, so I don't know that you quite want to lug those to the show, but it's just to show that you can use anything. So if you wanted to buy extra boxes when you bought your ballot box, or even if you have an extra stack of brochures that you might not use until the last day of the show, or a box or anything, you just stick that under the tablecloth, and then you can put different items on them. So you can stand up one of the easel back cards that we're going to be sending you in your kit on one of them, stand up the ballot box on another, do another little display with decorative items somewhere else, just to add some interest and to make sure that everything isn't just flat on your table. And here are just a couple of pictures for decor inspiration. Now this is all from the Martha Stewart website, and they're all very simple, do-it-yourself kind of things. And if you look at what they're made of, it's really inexpensive to do, but if you do it right, it just looks very chic and modern. So, you know, it's just little streamers that they bought at a party store, but the way that they've arranged them, it makes for a really nice arch. And then these paper bags with a lace applique on them, and you put an electric candle, and you have these nice glowing display on your table. And then earlier we had a picture of an altar, and it had all of the streaming little petals. They're showing you how to do it here, and it's just so easy to do. You buy some artificial flowers, and we know that those can be expensive, but if you take them all apart, it gets a lot more cost effective because you're using all of the layers of the flower. And then these big dahlias on the side here that are hanging from the ceiling, they're just made out of paper, but it looks so beautiful and contemporary. And then the same thing with these ribbon decorations that are hanging. They're easy to do, but it really adds a lot of glamour if that's the type of look that you're going for with your booth. And then this idea on the right I thought was really easy and kind of neat to do for the tables. All they've done here is that they've made sure that the tabletop is white, so I would make sure that you either cover the table with paper that matches the colors that you want, or just some plain white paper. And then underneath they bought a couple of fans from a party store, and they opened them halfway and they taped them all around the table. But the other idea that they had was then just to get some tulle and lay it over the table for like a nice soft look. So you have something roughly going on underneath, but you don't have, it's not expensive, and it's not in your face. It's just very nice and subtle and pretty. So go to marthastewartweddings.com. She's not paying me, I swear. So I'll pass it over to Franca. She's going to recap for us and give us a few more tips.
Okay, so the important thing that we want to really bring across to you, to all of you, whether you've done shows or not, and those of you that have done shows probably understand the importance of having a booth that's very attractive, is that you don't have a lot of time to get the attention of that bride as she's going up and down the aisles. And unlike most of the travel shows that we attend, where we know the people, and so we're stopping there because we know the products, we know the people, in this case you're really trying to create an awareness and a brand. So you've got only a few seconds to catch their attention. In most wedding shows, you're competing against big brands, you know, cosmetic companies, magazines, florists, and planners, so people that this is their area of expertise. So, you know, obviously you don't have unlimited budgets. We appreciate it, but we just wanted to give you some hints to really make sure that, you know, you don't fall into the trap of just arriving at the show with some brochures and a table and the drapery, because shows can be really drabby. So you need to do some work to make sure that your booth area really looks wonderful. So color, texture, all of these things that we talked to you about are a bit of a hint. If you need some more help, by all means, call us. But I know that you guys have incredible resources, and even some of your customers potentially are decorators and are in this field, so they could help you out. And in exchange, you could be promoting them as well. So just keep in mind that a nice booth is very, very, very important. Okay, our next slide will talk a little bit about what to do, you yourself, when you're in that show. So let's look again at a booth. One of the things that is the first no-no in show, oh, okay, it doesn't work. So you never put, can you guys see my little hand going up and, oh, do you think they can see it, Sylvie?
No,
okay.
We normally got a pointer, but for some reason it's...
Okay, so we don't have a pointer. But what we want to get across is, when we go to shows, and I see it all the time, the table is the first thing that you encounter. And let me tell you, I started in this industry in producing and working in shows, and I've done, oh God, probably hundreds and hundreds of shows in my lifetime in the travel industry. And inevitably, the table is always the first thing. But the table is really an obstacle. You never, it's almost like it creates that distance between you, the bride, or the client on the other side. So, try it out. If you don't, trust me. Your next show, do not put that table there because it is a barrier. Move it out of the front, put it either towards the back, on the side, anywhere at all, but create an environment within your booth where people feel comfortable walking in. Don't have any barriers because otherwise people will walk right by you. So that's number one. Okay, we're going to move on. Okay, and these are some of the tips. Obviously, make sure that you arrange everything with your staff, everything is confirmed, that you've got all your stuff ready to go. We're going to fly through these because it's kind of busy. One of the things that we did want to mention was that we are working on having a one big prize for everybody across Canada. We're in negotiation with a couple of the hotels, so you don't have to rack your brain trying to do a contest prize. We will do that. Just quickly on what to wear, and obviously these are just reminders. We know most of you guys are extremely professional. You know how to put yourself together, but just in case, little tips. Remember that you are your brand. So the way that you look really says a lot, especially to somebody who has never met you. These are brides. They obviously, again, the look and feel, the visual part is very important to them because it's your special day. And again, you're competing against, big brands in there, and they've got certain ways of presenting themselves. So make sure you look very professional. We would suggest that you dress as if you were going to, a reception, so that you're part of the theme and the ambiance. Suits obviously are great, a nice blouse. Comfortable but not chunky shoes because people will see your feet, especially if you're not hiding behind your table and you're up front and basically engaged in the whole event. No boots, just a nice pair of comfortable shoes. And, make sure everything is ironed, lint-free, all that stuff. So just a quick little reminder. Okay, and again, it's all about your image. So, just keep in mind the brides want to trust their special day to somebody who they feel projects the image that they want to project during their event. Okay, so let's talk about the actual show. One of the things that I think we don't take the opportunity to do is really to get there early and network with the other vendors. They are a great source of business for you as well. Not everybody at the show is going to be able to drive sales to your agency, but especially if you're, if you're in a city and you might have jewelers there, you might have banquet halls, you might have, all sorts of points of contact where brides are going to. So even if you're not touching them in time to get that destination wedding, again, honeymoons, big market. You want to make sure that you're out there, you're meeting the other vendors, because it also gives you an opportunity to do cross-promotional opportunities and work with them because they are in the front lines and meeting brides every day. Okay, at the show, very important. You spend all this money, you've got yourself a wonderful booth. Now, what do you do when you're there? Again, these are just tips, but we just want you to remember them. Even those of us that have done shows for the last, 100 years like me, it always helps to remember that, there are things that you do and don't do at a show that really can make it a successful event. So a show is all about getting as many leads and making as many contacts as you possibly can. As those brides are going by, you want to make sure that you're making contact, you're stopping them, you're engaging them to come into your booth, and, nothing does that better than for you to be smiling, open, engaged, and making eye contact. I can't tell you, and you guys also know how many times you go by a show and you see people sitting behind a desk or a table, talking, not really interested. How many people do you think are going to stop at that booth? The booth that you tend to stop at, or where you feel welcome, where you're not feeling that, pressure that it's going to be a hard sales call. So it's all about projecting the warmth, the kindness, and being very inviting in the way that that you're standing in the booth. The other thing is when brides are coming, and that's why you don't want a table there. You really want to be as close to the aisle as possible, making eye contact, and when you've made that eye contact and somebody's walking towards you, make sure that you introduce yourself. It's very important that you establish that contact immediately. Shake their hand if you feel comfortable, or whatever gesture, that kind of establishes that bond. And that helps you establish a relationship right away, and it makes a big difference, because we as humans all want to feel like, you know, we're being acknowledged. So acknowledge the bride, and then speak to them. But, you know, don't start with the spiel about what you do and what you can do for them. Listen to them. Get critical information, because right there and then you can be asking the questions that will let you understand the type of client that this bride will be. So find out, are they interested in a destination wedding or a honeymoon? When are they getting married? Have they made travel arrangements? And right there and then you've got the key information that you need to know if this is a lead that's critical to you, or whether it's somebody you're just going to spend a few seconds with and, you know, off to the next one. So ask the question, let them do the talking. This is not your time for selling. Right now you're trying to get as many leads as possible. If you feel that, you know, this is the bride who's getting married in destination or is planning a honeymoon, this is somebody that I think is a good lead, then don't leave the action to them. You take the necessary action right there and then at that show to make sure that a follow-up happens. So bring with you your calendar. Book appointments. The best things that you can do at these shows is walk out of the show with 10 appointments for a bride. You can come home with boxes and boxes of contest ballots and leads, which are great because it gives you something to work on for the next month or so. But if you have appointments, at least you've established a relationship with that client. They're coming in. You've done half of your work. So bring your appointment book. Tell them that you're serious. You're professional. That's what it'll tell that bride. And make sure that you're booking appointments right there. And again, you don't have to come back with a lot of appointments. Even if you come back with 2 or 3, that gets you closer to closing that booking than anything else at that show. Okay, so these are just a few pointers. So remember, you're going to the show, you really want it to work for you so that you're getting a great return on the investment. It's not only an investment in money, it's your time. In most cases, it's weekends, so, make the most of that time. So arrive early. Do not sit down. If I was physically able to, I'd come to all the shows. I'd want to see how you guys are doing. Stand, be welcoming, dress appropriately, be enthusiastic, because people, it's their wedding day. They are excited. You need to be excited. Don't have empty glasses on the tables. That's the worst thing when you go to shows and you see empty coffee cups or empty food things. It's just not appealing. And do not leave your booth empty. Again, you see it over and over. At peak times or even off-peak times, people are not in their booth. And it doesn't, to the customer that says they're not interested. And stay till the end. Again, I've seen a lot of people pack up even before the show is over, and it's just not a good thing. You want to stay as long as there are customers in that building. Okay, so we'll just go into the post-show follow-up, because now that you've done all of this work, you can't just go into the office and forget all about it, because now it's really going to matter what you do. So all of those appointments that you made with the brides, call them and confirm after the show, and don't just leave some sort of a generic type of message. Call them and say, oh, hi, this is Sylvie. I was so glad to meet you yesterday at the show, and I'm very happy that you're going to be coming in to be planning your wedding and use the name of the groom. Get that type of information when you're talking to them. Say, oh, that this time, if they say they want to get married in April 2011, it's a beautiful time of year, and I've been thinking of some destinations that would be great. I'm really looking forward to your appointment. And just call. Even if they said that they're coming, call and confirm, and leave a nice message. It gives a good feeling about the contact that they made with you during the show. And follow up with the contest leads, and do it the week that you come back. Because to these people, they fill out a lot of contest forms. You're going to see them, they're going to show up. They've got stickers made because they know that they want to enter contests, and that's why we don't want you to just rely on that. But if you do have their information, follow up. You can send an email. Yes, the best thing is to call, but you can go ahead and send an email if you've gotten thousands and thousands of replies to it. But what we recommend is really try to be personal. Don't just send out an email that says, Dear Bride, Dear Customer. There are ways to do it, to do form letters that fill in personalized information without all of the effort of doing it one by one. But at least go to that much effort and say, Dear Judy, I'm excited that we had a chance to meet and discuss your wedding on this date. You can ask for the date of the wedding on the ballot and make sure that you put that in. Be personal, because other people probably will not, and this will give you an opportunity to shine.
So looking back on the show is really going to give you an indication of things that you can improve upon moving forward. Because if this is your very first show that you're going to be doing this year, we really hope that it's not your last, because doing the first one is what's going to take the most effort, and from there it'll just be tweaking. So go ahead and take some photos during the show. Take photos of your booth. My goodness, you worked so hard on it. Take some photos so you can brag to the people at the office when you come back, and you can use it for newsletters or anything else that you want, but also for future research. And then take pictures of booths that you liked and ideas that you thought were cool. And then the week after the show, have a meeting with your staff. Look at the photos, have a discussion, what you guys think went well. You can discuss the decor of the booth, but also things that happen. Sometimes people don't behave the way that we think, and, oh, you know, we placed the table in the wrong area, or I found that if I started with this opening line, people really opened up to me, and I managed to get an appointment. And talk about things that didn't go so well, and make notes, and the next time around, you have the opportunity to improve it and have an even better experience. So that pretty much wraps up our seminar. We want to thank you very much, but before we all go, we want to open it up for questions to see if there's anything else that we can help you with. So if you want to unmute your line, just press *6, and we'll take a few questions. And while you guys are pressing *6 to unmute yourselves, we're just going to address a couple of questions that came in on the chat. And if you don't want to say your question aloud, you can go ahead and send it to us on the chat. One question here is about supplier funding for the wedding shows. How long does it take for us to confirm the funding? That depends entirely on the supplier. We found that so far they've been pretty good. We find out within the week, Franco?
Oh yeah, no, within the longest that it's taken is about 48 hours. Generally within 24 hours they come for me.
Yeah, so it doesn't take long at all. I also had a question about where you can find that beach backdrop that I was talking about. So I will include the link. There's actually quite a number of websites. If you just Google beach backdrop, I think it comes up, and it's between $11.99 and $15.99 depending on the site, but I'll send you a link for it. There's also a question about, so Franca, you had addressed the contest that we're working on,
yes,
on trying to get something together that all of you would be able to use as a contest at all the shows, and then you'd all submit your ballots to us, and we'd have one grand prize draw if you're not able to secure a prize to use on your own for the show.
And we will be doing generic ballots for everybody to use, so that
yes,
you don't have to worry, because if you're doing your own contest, terms and conditions are critical.
Yes.
So, you know, if you are doing anything of your own and it's a trip giveaway, if you're working with a supplier, make sure that they give you the terms and conditions, and you need to post them or have them at the show, because that's the law. And but if you're using ours, we will make sure that you've got all the terms and conditions, that if people ask, you've got them ready to go. But terms and conditions, critical.
So do we have any other questions on the line? I see a chat question here. What shade of blue is being used for the Ensemble magazine? What we can do is we can get Federica to give us the details for the Pantone color, which is basically the paint chip for the colors that we're using. And then if any of you care to use that to go out and buy some items, we'll include that in the email that will follow the call later today. Are there any other questions for us?
The only thing I wanted to say, Sylvie, was material that they're bringing to the show.
Mm-hmm.
In general, if you haven't done shows before, the rule of thumb is that you bring 10% of the expected visitors. So if you've got 20,000 people that they expect to be coming through the show, and a lot of times it's exaggerated, that number, but let's just take that they say that they've got 20,000 people, you can expect that 2,000 people will be stopping by your booth. So if you're bringing flyers, brochures, whatever you're bringing, you need to bring 10% of the total attendance. The other thing is, by the time the shows are happening, you will have most of the collateral that we're preparing for you. So what we would suggest is that you bring with you a couple of the kits. And since last week, Sylvie and I have been busy. Rather than sending you a folder to put all of that nice information that makes you stand out in your market, which are the invitations, the registry cards, the thank you cards, we're actually going to go ahead and buy some boxes with lids. They are a brown, which is the same brown that we're using in the magazine. And when we send you the kits, not only will you get 50 boxes, you'll also get some ribbon. And so make sure that you bring those kits with you to the shows, because that basically is a point of differentiation between you and everybody else. You can say, you know, we're going to sit down at our first meeting, and I will be presenting you with this box once you finish, you know, once the booking is complete, that will really help enhance your wedding in destination.
So are there any other questions for us before we end the call?
I just have a couple of comments after doing lots of shows, that never to eat at your booth.
Yes.
Never to stand with your arms crossed at the booth.
Yes.
And also, it's worth it to purchase a power supply. That way you don't have to buy electricity that the, you know, that the event is providing, like say at the Westin or something like that, because it can be quite expensive.
So what do you suggest by power supply? You bring your own in, like a little, a little generator or something?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like a Canadian Tire, you're saying, right? Is that kind of?
Yeah, and then I plug my laptop into it or whatever I need.
Great idea, because then it's yours to keep instead of having to pay $120.
Exactly. Along with we have our own carpet as well.
Good.
Yeah, because I know to all of you who haven't done it, the prices are astronomical for anything.
Very expensive.
That you
and
need.
Our own tables, we bring everything.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a menu for food, and it was $13 for 3 sandwich halves. So it's just, and you would think that you're buying things outright, but you're just renting them. So if it's $100 for 2 chairs, you don't own those chairs afterwards. They go right back to the show.
No.
So anything you can bring of your own, we recommend. Is there any other questions or comments that anyone wants to share from their past experience?
Can I just mention something, Sylvia? I'm sorry I emailed you about the business cards. We saw the mock-up in the toolkit. I'm just wondering when we can expect to receive all of this.
So all of the business cards are going to be included in the toolkit that we're going to be out, and that should arrive on January 4th is the absolute latest time that it'll arrive in your...
Oh, marvelous.
Yeah. And then for those of you that were interested in doing, because Pam, I know you were asking, I sent you a note just before the call because I'd gotten some details on doing double-sided business cards. Those are available at an extra cost. We have some quotes for you if you're interested, but they are an additional cost, but we can do that for you if anyone cares to order those.
Okay, that would be great. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? I've got one here asking if we have posters. We do have posters here. They're actually printed already, so if anyone does need some, just let us know.
We'll be sending out the posters anyway. All the specialists will get a new supply of posters for next year. We're going to send you 4 each, but if you need more than that, let us know.
Okay, so if that's all, we're going to end the call.
Something real quick.
Yeah.
Could you just explain the kit again for me?
Yeah, we'll go through the kit. Okay, so the kit is really a something that you will present to the bride who's getting married in destinations, and these are all the little things that can enhance their destination experience that no other travel agency really in the Canadian marketplace is offering them complimentary. And they will include the invitation template. So in the kits that we're preparing, and we're making 50 per specialist, so that we're hoping that you're going to close 50 destination wedding, and it's your present to the bride and groom when they book that destination wedding. So they will be templates of the invitations that you can do for them. The invitations will be up on the extranet. You can customize them for the bride and groom, and we will have 3 different templates to choose from. And then you can decide, you can either run them if you have color printers in your agency, and they're going to invite, 50 people to join them in Cancun, then you can run 50 of them in your own offices. Or if if you feel this is a really worthwhile wedding, we're making a lot of money, we're going to go out and get them printed at Staples or Kinko's, and we're going to do them on glossy paper, or they may want to do it by email. So we will have both options available for you. Some will be email blast that they can send to their family and friends, or you can print actual invitations. So you'll have the invitations. For those of you that were on the program last year, you'll remember that we have gift registry cards, so you can open up a file for that bride and groom, and the family and friends can contribute into that file. So you can give the bride, a registry cards. Normally we would suggest about 50. And then you will also have gift vouchers. So if their family and friends come back into the agency and they put money in that file, then you can complete a little gift voucher that they can then insert into a card and bring at the shower or engagement or whenever time they want to give it to the bride and groom. And finally, thank you cards. We had them printed later last year. So when the bride comes back, she doesn't have to, again, incur the expense. You can give her a stack of thank you cards, and she can thank all of her guests. So these will be all housed in a little brown, in a brown box that's going to be 9 by 11.5. Basically, you put all these pieces in the box. You put a nice ribbon around it. When you've closed the booking, you say, thank you very much. We're so delighted that you're going to be doing business with us. These are the additional pieces that we can offer you to make your wedding complete.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yep, perfect.
Any other questions?
The only disadvantage is that we're not going to put the kits together for you guys, because otherwise shipping them would be a nightmare. So we're going to send you the boxes and all the pieces, and you just have to make the kits up. And it's probably easier for you, because then you don't have to keep these boxes stacked.
Now, for everyone that still has their computer screen up, I just put up a quick poll if you care to let us know. Last week we talked to you about registering for your Charisma GI Specialist Program, and I'm just curious who has done it and who hasn't done it yet. We want you to do it as soon as possible, and you can just let us know here. Click either yes or no. But there's no time limit on it, but it is a mandatory thing for being part of this program. So although I say there's no time limit, by the end of January, we'd really like for all of you to be finished with it, because we have quite a few of our own training sessions and additional supplier training that will be happening in the new year. So the sooner you get the Charisma under your belt, the easier it is to move on and balance the training sessions into your schedule.
Well, and the other advantage is that you get all those great value-added coupons. So if you're booking weddings, you know, it's a great way to close the deal, because you might be able to offer them those nice massages on the beach or all those other great romantic things that Charisma will make available.
And where do we sign up for that?
We just have a question here from Christina. Are you still on the line?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. I was worried that I was still on mute. Did you guys sign us up for this Charisma thing, or do we have to do it ourselves?
You have to do it yourself. So what, I don't have there's a specific link that you have to go to. I'm not sure if you have a copy of the recap email that I sent last week after our call, but Ian will have it for sure, but I can resend it to you. There's a website that you have to go to, and there's a form to fill out. So basically you put in all of your details, print off a copy of it before you hit submit, and then there's a fax number to send it to you at the specific department at Charisma. And we cover the cost, and they have a list of all of the agencies that are part of our wedding program, so they will not be requesting any payment from you. So that's how it works. They're not going to request it. You don't have to approve anything. They know that you're part of the program. We've been talking with Jonathan about it.
Okay.
Sorry to repeat that, but I had to take another line real quick. Where did you say we go to sign up for Charisma?
It is on, there's a specific link. It's kind of a long link, but I'll include it in the email that I send out today.
Perfect.
And you can.
We signed up, but we haven't done any of the courses yet. Are they on the same website actually doing the courses?
They are supposed to be following up with you guys as you sign up for it. So
we've been signed up for about a week now, and we haven't heard from them. So.
Okay, so I'm going to let them know that there are quite a few of you that have signed up, and you know, if they're planning on getting in touch with you as a group, just to let you know what's next, because I do believe that they have the seminars every week.
And they have their GIVC Agent Awards right now, so everyone's really, really busy down there.
Yeah, that's true. I think those are happening over the weekend. So.
And what about the FAM tours? Anything more definite there, or we know when they're going to be, or?
What the indication that we got early on is that everybody wanted to wait until the end of March. Now, we will probably do some more polling to see if people are willing, because Charisma would like us to go down as soon as possible. But I think the overwhelming majority of people felt that we might have a busy January and February this year, but maybe we'll do another poll and see. Because if we could do the FAM earlier, it would be great. Not today. I don't know. People
it's only for a couple of days, isn't it? So.
It's only 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and especially if, okay, so we can do the poll now, actually, and ask if people would be willing to do the FAM in January.
That's a no.
Is that a no?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
January is awful, right? And February is probably the same.
Yeah.
So we really do have to look towards after March break and March.
Yeah. Now, is this something you can do on your own, or do you have to do it as a group?
They wanted to do it as a group because, the program, and then they would do something special for the specialists.
They go all out when they have a big group. But when I went there in November and they had a group coming in, and they pull out all the stops and they really make sure that they show you everything they have.
Yeah, like you can do it as a one-off. Sylvie did it on her own. It's not the same as when you go with a group, which, they tend to really do a lot more fancy experiences.
Right. But you can do it. Doing it on your own is an option?
It is an option, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so I put the poll up if anyone wants to just put off the dates.
Yeah.
I just put a month, and then what we can do is we can kind of narrow it down from there in an email.
Perfect.
Okay, January is the loser month. One person. Okay. Oh, here I'll share the results with all of you so that you can.
Okay. Any other questions? And so this will be our last call before you guys go off and do all these wonderful shows. And then we will regroup again in January, and by then you will have done the shows, and we can talk more about those leads. And in January, we expect to have some guest lecturers, so you don't have to ever listen to Sylvie and I again. We do have a couple of wonderful people, including Rebecca Grinnell, who's a world-renowned wedding planner. She'll be joining us for a couple of the sessions, so I think you're going to find that certainly the level of enthusiasm and the kind of knowledge that you're going to get out of these calls is going to increase dramatically when January comes along.
Well, thank you very much to everybody, and if we don't chat, I don't know that we'll have another training session before the holidays. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We hope that you have a
Happy Hanukkah, which starts today.
Yes.
As Lindsay reminds us.
Yes, we hope that you have a great holiday season, and all the best for the new year, and you'll be greeted with the nice toolkit when you're all back in the office. So take care, everyone, and we'll chat with you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks.
Merry Christmas.